as you know, we have been aggressively marketing the state's industrial mega site going back over the last 12 years. Unfortunately, we were not successful, or maybe fortunately in this case, that being patient really paid enormous dividends. And so Ford Motor Company reached out to us late February, so approximately 11 months ago. And like every project that's EV related, all of the manufacturers are in an enormous hurry to get their new product to market. And so a project like this could typically take a couple of years to evolve. In this case, Bill Ford Jr. called Governor Lee and I in August. So 6 short months later, we had been notified that the state of Tennessee, after competing with 15 other states, had been identified as the winner of, again, in this case, Ford's largest project ever. And for the state of Tennessee, from a capital investment perspective, the largest project in our state's history at $5.6 billion. Imagine we were all responsible, our state and 15 other states were responsible for providing an enormous amount of data. And that's everything from workforce to ability to deliver the kind of megawatts that Ford requires, to water and wastewater. And what made our challenge probably more interesting is that the mega site itself did not have any utilities, certainly not at the level and capacity requirements. So we worked with our Department of General Services, because the state's going to be providing water and wastewater. We worked with TVA to make sure that the 150 kilowatt or megawatts or whatever this power requirement, that they could deliver the power. A gas company, fiber, and so we worked. And then at the end of the day, we had to convince Ford Motor Company that we had a workforce that would be of size and of quality and of skill set for a project that's going to require about 5,800 full-time employees once the project opens. A lot of work was going on behind the scenes, and I think what we were probably proudest of, not only the good work, but also the ability to keep this confidential. We know from history in our business at ECD, if you leak, you lose. And so we knew that, that's where they have leverage. I mean, these companies don't want the states or the locals talking about those projects until those projects have, the company's made a very definitive decision. And so that's not new to us. That's just how we've been able to operate, and that is, again, maximum confidentiality. Well, Beth, I can simply say what Bill Ford, who is the executive chairman of Ford Motor Company, said, that, again, Tennessee was head and shoulders above the other states that competed for this project. So that obviously is a great attestation and affirmation that we hopefully delivered not only the answers that they were looking for, but we also delivered the economic incentives to help them offset the cost. And I'm not talking about only economic incentives for Ford Motor Company, but also the infrastructure incentives that were required by the state, because this is a state-owned industrial park. So as you know, we at ECD, our job is to recruit the companies. And our job was to serve, I guess, what we'll just call it, to negotiate the transaction. What was interesting about this project is this cuts across several departments in state government. So TDOT's going to be responsible for some enormous build out of roads. General Services is going to be responsible for water, wastewater. TBR is going to be responsible for building a TCAT on the campus. Labor and Workforce Development is responsible for helping prepare the workforce. So you've got all of these departments that are working together, because I would submit to you, while we are so excited about winning the project, we at the state must deliver all of the promises that we made when we were being, competing for that project. So our work is really just beginning. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it takes a great General Assembly that is very supportive of these kind of capital investments, because this is, again, an enormous commitment from our state's perspective. And the funding mechanism comes through the General Assembly, so it requires hopefully a great working relationship. And then lastly, the leadership of Governor Lee is very much a part of the success